I never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these stories. You know, the kind where the faithful husband gets blindsided by the woman he thought he'd grow old with. But here I am. And if you're reading this, maybe you've been through it too. Or maybe you just like a good revenge story. Either way, buckle up because this one's a ride. My name is Jake. I'm 38, a mechanic, and a man who always believed in the old-fashioned values of loyalty, trust, and keeping your word. I married Lisa when we were both 26, back when we thought love could conquer anything. She was my dream girl, smart, funny, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and own it without saying a word. And for a while, life was good, real good. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Lisa had a habit of pushing boundaries, flirting just a little too much, laughing just a little too hard at another man's jokes. It was never enough to start a fight, but it was always just enough to make me feel something wasn't right. And when I finally did confront her about it, she'd brush it off with a smile and say, "Oh, Jake, don't be so jealous. It's harmless." I wasn't the jealous type, but I wasn't blind either. The first real red flag came about a year ago. She started spending more time with her work friends, late nights, weekend brunches, and a sudden obsession with hitting the gym. I didn't want to be the controlling husband, so I let it go. But I made one thing crystal clear. Lisa, if I ever find out you've crossed a line, that'll be it. No second chances. She laughed, kissed me on the cheek, and called me dramatic. Fast forward to a month ago. Lisa's behavior had become textbook suspicious. Always on her phone, texting friends, but never letting me see. Coming home late, showering immediately, and the biggest giveaway, she stopped picking fights. No nagging, no arguing, just a sudden sweetness that didn't feel real. I knew what that meant. So I did what any rational man in my position would do. I started watching, and I didn't have to watch long. One Friday night, she told me she was going to a girls' night out. I already knew it was a lie. My friend, who worked security at a downtown hotel, had tipped me off earlier that day. Lisa checked in with a man, not a coworker, not a friend, a man. I felt my blood go ice cold. Did it hurt? Of course. But mostly I felt something else. Clarity. I didn't say a word when she left that night. Didn't blow up her phone. Didn't confront her. I just watched. I watched her walk out the door, thinking she had me fooled, thinking she'd never face consequences, thinking she could lie to my face and come home to a husband who'd never know the difference. She was dead wrong. There's a strange kind of silence that comes with betrayal. It's not the loud, explosive kind, the kind you see in movies where the guy flips a table and starts screaming. No, real betrayal sits heavy in your chest, cold and quiet, like a snake coiled and waiting to strike. That's where I was the night Lisa walked out the door. She thought she had me fooled. She thought I was just the same old Jake, the reliable husband who would be sitting at home, none the wiser, while she played her little game. But she didn't know I had already seen the game for what it was. I watched her leave, a fake smile on her face as she grabbed her clutch and gave me a peck on the cheek like it was any other Friday night. "Don't wait up," she said, her voice light, easy, dripping with deceit. I almost laughed. "Don't wait up? Oh, sweetheart, I'll be up all night, but not for the reason you think." I let her go. I let her walk right out that door, her heels clicking against the pavement as she made her way to her car. And I stood there for a long moment, watching through the window as she drove off, disappearing into the night. Then I got to work. You see, a younger, dumber version of me might have confronted her right away, might have let my emotions get the better of me, demanded answers, given her the chance to lie to my face. But I wasn't that guy anymore. No, I had learned long ago that revenge, real revenge, wasn't about anger. It wasn't about yelling or throwing punches. It was about patience. I sat down at the kitchen table, my phone in my hand, scrolling through messages I had ignored all day. My buddy at the hotel had sent me a few updates. She's here. Room 709. Checked in under his name. Same guy from before. I tapped out a quick reply. Got it? Keep eyes on her. Let me know when they leave. My hands weren't even shaking. That surprised me. Shouldn't I feel more? More rage, more heartbreak? But no. All I felt was clarity. I stood up and walked through our house, a place that was supposed to be built on love, on trust, on the promise that we were in this together. My eyes wandered over the framed photos on the wall. Lisa and I on our honeymoon, grinning like we had the world in our hands. Lisa on our anniversary, holding the bracelet I had saved up for months to buy her. What a joke. I reached out and turned the frame face down. Time ticked by slower than I wanted. Every minute was agony, waiting for the inevitable message that would tell me she was leaving that hotel, that she was coming back to me, back to the house she had turned into a lie. I sat in my truck, engine running, my hands gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. A part of me wanted to just drive there now, storm in, tear the whole charade down right in front of her. But no, that would be too easy. Lisa had made her bed. Now she had to lie in it. Finally, my phone buzzed. She's on her way out. They left together. Same car as before. I exhaled slowly, rolling my shoulders, feeling the tension coil and snap. Showtime. I put the truck in gear and pulled out of the driveway. But I wasn't headed to that hotel. No, I had bigger plans. Lisa thought she was running the show. She had no idea the curtain was about to drop. Lisa came home that night like nothing had happened. She walked to the front door at 2 a.m., her heels clicking against the hardwood floor, her perfume lingering in the air. Too strong, too different. Not the scent she left the house wearing. I was sitting in the living room, beer in hand, TV on, acting like a husband who had just been waiting for his wife to return from a girls' night. "Hey, babe," she chirped, voice just a little too light, too careful. "You're up late." I took a slow sip, my eyes never leaving her. She was nervous. I could see it in the way she hesitated at the threshold, in the way she subtly ran a hand through her hair like she was checking if everything was in place. A woman who had nothing to hide wouldn't do that. I smiled. "Yeah, couldn't sleep." She set her purse down and walked toward me, a small, fake frown on her face. "I told you not to wait up." "Oh, I waited, all right. Just not in the way she thought." Lisa leaned down and kissed my forehead. My skin burned where her lips touched, like a brand, like a mark of shame. And I let her do it. I let her touch me with the same hands that had probably been all over him. The rage that sat inside me was quiet. Cold. But oh, it was there. "Did you have fun?" I asked, tilting my head slightly, watching for any tells, any hesitation. Lisa smiled, too wide, too quick. "Yeah, it was great." We bar-hopped a little, then ended up at Olivia's place for a while. Just a chill night. Lie, lie, lie. I chuckled, nodding like I believed her. "Good. You deserve to have fun." She blinked, slightly taken aback by my calmness. "Yeah, I mean, thanks. I do work hard, you know." I set my beer down and stood up. She instinctively took half a step back before catching herself. "Gotcha. Of course," I said, my voice smooth measured. "Why don't you take a shower and head to bed? You must be exhausted." Relief flooded her face. She thought she was off the hook. She thought I had swallowed her story like I always did. "Oh, yeah, that sounds amazing." "I'm so tired." She turned and headed for the bathroom, and I followed her with my eyes. I wanted to see if she would check her phone, if she would rush to delete messages, erase calls, cover her tracks. But Lisa, ever the arrogant one, didn't even glance at her bag. She thought she was untouchable. I let her go, listening as the water started running. And then, with the calm precision of a man who had nothing left to lose, I walked over to her purse, pulled out her phone, and unlocked it. She had no idea I knew her passcode. My hands were steady as I scrolled. The texts were right there, bold and open, like she didn't even care she got caught. "Jason, had an amazing night with you, babe. I wish we didn't have to say goodbye." "Lisa, me too. Can't stop thinking about you already." I inhaled through my nose, controlled, measured, forcing myself to keep the anger at bay. It was surreal, reading it with my own eyes, seeing the proof, the lies, the betrayal, the absolute disrespect. I kept scrolling. More messages, more proof, explicit photos, plans for their next meetup. She wasn't even being careful. Lisa wasn't just having an affair. She was comfortable in it. And that was the part that killed me. I set the phone down carefully, making sure it looked undisturbed, and then I stepped back, running a hand down my face. The weight of it all settled deep in my bones. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a drunken one-night stand. It wasn't some fleeting lapse in judgment. Lisa had been making a fool out of me for months, and she thought she would get away with it. I looked up at the closed bathroom door, the sound of water still running. My heart was pounding, but my mind was crystal clear. Lisa had no idea the game was over, but she was about to find out. Lisa walked out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, steam rolling out from behind her like some grand entrance. She looked refreshed, as if washing off the stench of her betrayal, made it all disappear. But nothing disappears. Not lies, not deception, and sure as hell not me. Feel better? I asked, keeping my voice smooth, neutral. I was getting good at this, playing the part of the clueless husband. She smiled, rubbing a towel through her damp hair. Yeah, that was exactly what I needed. I bet it was. She moved past me, dropping onto the bed, scrolling through her phone like nothing had changed. She still hadn't even noticed I had already read her texts, that I knew everything. I sat at the edge of the bed and watched her, not in the way a husband looks at his wife with admiration, but the way a man looks at something he's about to dismantle piece by piece. How's Olivia? I asked. Her thumbs froze for just a fraction of a second before resuming their tapping. Barely their hesitation. A misstep in her otherwise perfect rhythm of lies. She's good, Lisa said, keeping her eyes on her screen. Tired, though. We stayed up late talking about her new job. Another lie. I nodded. You two always have a lot to talk about. Lisa hummed in agreement. No guilt, no flicker of doubt. She was comfortable. I stood up, stretching, making a show of yawning. I'm going to grab some water. Lisa barely looked up. Okay. I walked out. But instead of going to the kitchen, I stopped at the hallway closet where I had stashed an old burner phone earlier that day. One with a fresh SIM card. One with a plan. I unlocked it, opened the camera roll, and stared at the photos I had taken just hours ago. Screenshots of Lisa's texts. Pictures of her and him leaving the hotel. My buddy's security footage perfectly capturing her betrayal in high definition. And the best part? She still had no idea. I smirked, scrolling through the evidence one more time. Then I opened the text thread and typed, Your perfect little world is about to come crashing down, Lisa. Sleep tight. I hit send. Then I walked back into the bedroom, climbed into bed next to her, and watched as her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Lisa glanced at it. The moment her eyes landed on the message, her whole body stiffened. Everything in her changed in an instant, and that's when I knew. She was finally scared. Lisa's hand trembled as she picked up her phone. I could hear the sharp inhale of breath, the way her fingers hovered over the screen, unsure whether to unlock it or pretend she hadn't seen the message. I leaned back against the pillows, hands behind my head, watching her. My heart wasn't even racing anymore. I was calm, because I had already won. Something wrong? I asked, feigning concern. Lisa forced a small chuckle, shaking her head as she tilted the screen away from me. No, just spam message. Lie. She pressed the power button and set her phone face down on the nightstand. The way her shoulders tightened, the stiffness in her jaw. I could see her mind spinning in overdrive. She had just stepped onto a battlefield she didn't even know existed. I let the silence stretch, let her thoughts eat at her. Then, after a few minutes, I stood up, stretched, and casually walked toward the bathroom. The moment the door clicked shut behind me, I counted the seconds. 1, 2, 3. Her phone screen lit up. I didn't need to see it to know what she was doing. She was checking the message again, probably rereading it a dozen times, trying to figure out who sent it, trying to guess how much they knew. I smirked. Oh, Lisa, you have no idea. The next morning, she was different. Quieter, more distant. She kissed me goodbye as she left for work, but it was stiff, forced. And I knew why. Because I had sent another text. You had your fun, didn't you? Thought you could keep lying forever? She hadn't responded. I spent the day watching her from the security cameras I had installed the week before. Inside the house, outside the house, in the car. She was on edge, checking over her shoulder, constantly glancing at her phone. By noon, she was making calls. To him. I recorded every single one. That night, Lisa came home looking exhausted, dark circles forming under her eyes. She dropped her purse on the counter, barely meeting my gaze. Long day? I asked, sipping my beer. She forced a smile. Yeah, just a lot on my mind. I bet. I leaned forward, resting my elbows on the table. Hey, random question. She tensed. Yeah. I tapped my fingers against my beer bottle. Do you believe in karma? Lisa blinked, caught off guard. I guess. I nodded, swirling the beer around the glass. You know, the whole what goes around comes around thing? That if you do something shitty, it'll come back to bite you? Her fingers twitched against the table. She was trying to keep her expression neutral, but I saw the flicker of fear in her eyes. She knew. She just didn't know how much. I smiled. I think karma has a way of evening the playing field. Lisa forced a laugh, but it sounded hollow. That's an interesting thought. I drained the rest of my beer and stood up. Anyway, just something I was thinking about. I'm going to take a shower. She nodded quickly, desperate for the conversation to be over. She didn't know the real storm was just beginning. The next morning, Lisa woke up to an email from me. Subject: thought you should know. I had attached everything. Screenshots of her messages with Jason, the hotel security footage, the call recordings, and then, at the bottom, one single line. Check the group chat. Because, you see, I didn't just send email to Lisa. I sent it to our entire family. Her parents, my parents, her best friends, our mutual friends. Everyone. I heard the sharp gasp from our bedroom before the world exploded. "Jake!" she screamed, footsteps pounding down the hall as she burst into the living room. Her phone clutched in her shaking hands. What the hell is this? I sipped my coffee, flipping through the morning news on my phone. Morning to you too. She marched toward me, eyes wide with fury and panic. You sent this to everyone? I shrugged. Well, yeah, I thought it was only fair. She let out a choked sound, her fingers tightening around the phone. Jake, we can talk about this. This is insane. Oh, now you want to talk? I laughed, standing up, looking her dead in the eyes. Where was this energy when you were sneaking off to hotels? When you were laughing at me behind my back? When you thought you could lie to me forever? Lisa swallowed hard, her face pale. Jake, please. This is too much. My parents saw this. My job saw this. Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, I pulled my phone from my pocket and scrolled through my emails. Looks like Jason's wife saw it too. Lisa's lips parted in shock. His wife. I grinned. Oh, did you not know he was married? Her entire body sagged, the realization hitting her like a freight train. Jason's wife had responded almost instantly when I sent her the evidence. And from a sheer rage in her messages, I knew Lisa's little boy toy had just lost everything. Jake, Lisa whispered, her voice breaking. You've ruined my life. I tilted my head. No, sweetheart. I took a step closer, lowering my voice to a deadly whisper. You ruined your life. I just made sure everyone knew the truth. She let out a shaky breath, tears welling in her eyes. Please, we can fix this. I made a mistake. I held up a hand. No, you made a choice, over and over again, and now you get to live with it. Lisa reached out, but I stepped back. I could see the sheer desperation in her eyes, the way her whole world was crumbling around her. She had played a game she never expected to lose. She lost everything in the next few days. Her parents disowned her. Our friends cut her off. Her boss caught wind of the scandal and fired her for personal misconduct. And Jason? His wife took everything, his house, his kids, his business. She burned him to the ground. Lisa begged me not to go through with the divorce, said she could change, that we could rebuild. I laughed in her face and handed her the papers. 2 weeks later, she moved out. And me? I thrived, because karma always wins.